Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Friday the 5th of November 2021. Today in Millwall News we have this from londonnewsonline.co.uk, and it's Lions boss Gary Rowett has praised for Wayne Rooney as he gives his verdict on Derby's Championship survival chances. Gary Rowett reckons Derby County have the quality in their ranks to get out of the Championship drop zone and has praised Wayne Rooney for the way he has dealt with the club's administration. The Rams are bottom of the table and 7 points adrift of safety as they head to Millwall tomorrow, but part of their struggles is down to a 12-point deduction after they were into administration. There have been reports that Derby are liable to receive a further 9-point penalty, potentially before the end of this month. Lions manager Rowett, who took the Rams to the Championship playoffs, said there's all sorts of rumours been floating around that they may get more points, but if that doesn't happen then they've got a very good chance of getting out of it. They're a very good side. Far from afar, and what I hear within the club, I think Wayne has done a really good job of maintaining the focus and maintaining that positivity. I know he's an experienced football man, but for anyone's first job, I can't imagine having to deal with that when I first walked in at Burton. He's been very highly commendable how he's dealt with it, but they've got good players. You saw their team the other night. They've got good players and they can mix the game up from a technical and physical aspect with the likes of Curtis Davis, Jagielka and Kazim Richards. I would expect them to have a real chance of pulling out of those bottom positions. We've got to be completely focused and do what we do well. If we do that to the best of our ability, we give ourselves a chance. If not, then we'll give Derby a chance of winning the game. It is as simple and clear as that. George Evans is expected to be absent for another week. The former Rams midfielder also broke his hand. That is healing quite nicely, said Rowett. That's quite important that he's had an opportunity to give that little rest and ensure the hand is together properly. If you go and play on it straight away and fall on your hand, then there's a chance of that bone being displaced and being a problem for you down the line is heightened. Okay, so there's Gary Rowett bigging up Wayne Rooney and thinks Derby could still survive unless they get another points for deduction, but we will see. Maybe he's just trying to preemptively shield himself from any criticism if we don't go out and smash Derby County, because even though they're cut adrift at the bottom of the table, if you gave them the points back, they would be bottom mid-table safely. So let's move on to this story that popped up today. So this did make me laugh. Millwall would be keen on a permanent deal for Dan Ballard if Arsenal were ever ready to sell. Millwall are keen on a permanent deal for Daniel Ballard if Arsenal were ever ready to listen to offers for the centre-back. Really? How? Our record transfer fee is like a million and a quarter, isn't it? For Bradshaw, or was it Mahoney, one of them? To 1.4. I think Danny Ballard will go for a little bit more than that, maybe 2.5. At least 2.5 million, maybe more. A report earlier this week claimed that the Gunners were set to take up an extension clause in the 22-year-old's contract, which is due to expire at the end of June. Ballard has been a regular in the Lions lineup since arriving on a season-long loan on July 1. We took him on the basis that we'd see if Dan could help us and we could help his career develop in the same way it did last year at Blackpool, Mill manager Gary Rowett told the South London Press. That was really the plan. When you see him playing and you've worked with him, it has crossed my mind that if ever there was an opportunity to buy Dan, then of course we'd be interested. He's a really good fit and a little bit of a Millwall as well in the way he plays. The way he's developing means he would be a fabulous player for any championship side to have. The reality is that a bit like Jason Malumbi, when a player comes and does well, then at the end of their loan they either go to another one that is perceived to be the next step, or they go back to challenge to their parent club. Who knows what the next step is, because we're only 16 games in the season. What I would say is a great character who trains really well and is really popular. He has a huge potential. There is still a lot of work to get Dan there. We'll focus on that. But if ever Dan should be available, then I'm pretty sure we'd be interested. But I'd imagine that would be along with plenty of other sides. Indeed. Rowett took the decision to rest Ballard for Tuesday's 1-0 victory over Reading. The defender has started all 15 championship matches prior to that, along with representing Ireland, I think at least 4 times now. We had 2 international breaks already? Was it one? I don't know. It was a combination of the things, said Rowett. He has played so many games and had an issue with his knee and his ankle. He's been fatigued. I felt at some point he's going to need a breather to get him through the season and make sure he's not injured or his performance is impaired. I decided to take it out of his hands, really, because he's the type of lad who wants to play and be available for every game. That's why we like him so much. The debate is whether we do that again at the weekend and give him a real chance to recover and feel good again. When you get to these international breaks, it is such a relief physically for players to come off it for the first week, but Danny's going harder at it and then comes back and has to get through the next bit. We'll have to be the ones to manage that rather than Ireland. So interesting there. So I did speculate maybe that Arsenal told Rowett to rest him, because there was a quote from an Arsenal coach who's involved in loaning out the players, who basically said he's playing a lot. But Rowett said here he's the one doing it. So if it's preemptively trying to rest him for maybe 2 slightly easier games, Reading and Derby, and we have him fit for Middlesbrough and Bournemouth, especially that Bournemouth game, that would be so fair play to Rowett there. He's doing something maybe quite interesting and intelligent in resting a player that's playing a lot. Hopefully that works out, and Danny Ballard comes back all guns blazing when he does come back. So there you go. I did speculate it was Arsenal, but it seems Gary Rowett said it was his idea. So there you go. But yeah, this also another thing I want to point out. This story coming out now. Danny Ballard is 22 years old. It's around this time of age when players at Premier League clubs, they need to hit or twist. Like 22, 23, 24. It's going to be clear whether they're Premier League quality or they're not. And as a club like Arsenal, the top clubs, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, etc., you need to be elite Premier League youngster coming through, or have the potential to develop into one. But if that's not the case, then you get cut adrift. Or what's happening now is a lot of youngsters, especially at Chelsea, for some reason, seem to be cutting away a lot earlier. I think they're realising that they're not going to make it. They don't want to sit around in a youth team, going out on loan here, there and everywhere. They don't want to take control of their own destiny. They're just leaving. So maybe, I don't know about the deal with it. So they're saying there's an extension clause in his contract. Does that need to be agreed by both parties? Now here's the thing, if one of the parties didn't want to extend their contract with Arsenal, maybe Danny Ballard, and then he comes out of that Premier League system and he signs for Millwall, that I imagine that's the only way that we would sign him. It's even then we'll have to agree a compensation package with Arsenal, much like Abdul Malik was trying to leave Millwall because he's gone through our youth system and Danny Ballard's gone through their youth system. It's still going to be a pretty penny in terms of compensation. He's a full international. I know it's Northern Ireland, but still so that would still be quite expensive and probably a bit too much for Millwall, unless of course we went up. If we went up into the Premier League, then I could see him signing and I could see Jed Wallace signing as well, so that would be fantastic. But bit of wishful thinking there, unless they're playing some kind of chess game where they're trying to persuade Danny Ballard, maybe don't sign for Arsenal, let your contract run out and we can sign you. But then when you're a player and you do that, the idea is you'll get a signing on fee. But if you're under 24, then there's a compensation fee that needs to be paid by the club that's signing you. So that money is not going to go to you unless it's going to go to the club. It's going to go to Arsenal. Now, if he was over 24 and he let his contract run out and come to Millwall, then he'll be cashing in with a big signing fee for himself. But yeah, I don't know, it's a bit of a weird one. But we've got contract talks and transfer speculation happening in November, when we're literally 2 months away from the January transfer window opening. So it's all very interesting, something bubbling underneath the surface, and we'll have to see what happens. So moving on now to this story from millwallfc.co.uk. So Ryan Sandford joins Maidstone United on loan. Millwall goalkeeper Ryan Sandford has joined Maidstone United on a 28-day loan. The 22-year-old links up with the Vanarama National League South side for the next month and will look to go straight into the squad for their home game with Slough Town this Saturday afternoon. Keep up to date with the progress of Sandford and the line's other loanees, which I think it's up to like 9 or 10 now. 9 or 10 players out on loan, which is crazy. But like I said, transfer deals happening all the time. So at the start of the season, it was discussed by Rowett that Sandford and Joe Wright would be the third choice goalkeeper, and he would keep one of them for half the season and loan one out, and then they would switch, and one of them would stay, and then the other one would go out on loan. So we've got a loan here for Ryan Sandford. So he hasn't been seen much. So he hasn't been playing for under 23s. I've seen him on the pitch before games at Millwall, training with the goalkeepers. I did see that, and I had to do a top. Is that Ryan Sandford there? Yeah. So you got the two goalkeepers, one the goalkeeper coach, and the goalkeeper coach is working with Bart, who's the one starting the match, so that he's doing training with him, and then you got Sandford and George Long basically training as well. So there you go. So interestingly, he's going to start in the National League South for Maidstone United, and we'll see how he gets on coming up. I wonder how he's going to do. Should be good, but we'll see. Now moving on to this from London News Online. Jake Cooper in his poppy shirt there, which you can bid for. Don't forget, in yesterday's video, Millwall defended its milestone with Lee Gregory and Andy Roberts in his side. Jay Cooper made his 200th league appearance for Millwall in Saturday's 1-0 loss at Huddersfield Town. So that's last Saturday. The 26-year-old centre-back moved on to 201 league matches after starting the 1-0 victory over Reading at the Den in midweek. Cooper needs 3 more championship outings to move level with Lee Gregory and Andy Roberts. Murray was clocked up his 100th game for Millwall after the Scot featured against the Royals. So interesting. So this popped up, and I thought it's a nice little vignette. Would you call it? It's not really a story. I thought we'll bring it up. So this is from the millhistory.org.uk, a fan site run by a fan. I just wanted to show you where we're going here. So let's bring that over there. You can see 300. So this is all appearances. All appearances from the Football League onwards. I think some of these players are really old, back in the olden times, from the Southern League and maybe going into the Football League. I think we joined the Football League, it might have been 1920, or maybe 1910, I can't quite recall. I know we went to New Cross and a Den in 1920, the original Den, the old Den was opened in 1920. So, but there you see the top 10, some top names in there: Barry Kitchener, Keith Stevens, Harry Cripps, Neil Harris, Alan McCleary, Alan Dunn, Paul Robinson, Jim Forsyth, Najim Abdu, Richard Hill, Len Graham, Brian King, David Ford, some big names there. Big names in terms of appearances for Millwall. And you go down just under that, bubbling under, Sean Williams there at number 23. And we go all the way down, and currently this is all appearances, 224, including sub appearances, Jay Cooper. And this is up to the 4th of November, so yesterday it was updated. So if he starts against Derby, or even if he comes on as a sub, he's going to be on the level with Tony Warner on 225. So then he's got Aidan O'Brien, but so you imagine 30 more games in this season, you could see 250s a realistic thing. He could move his way all the way up to where Robbie Ryan is, number 37, Alex Ray. You get up to that kind of level just behind them, and yeah, he's getting up there. And you wouldn't think it, like, he's been here a while, but you wouldn't think of him in that kind of terms, like historically being here so long. But he's up to 224 appearances, which is crazy. Yeah, and the names ahead of him. Ian Dawes, Teddy Sheringham, Matt Lawrence, Paul Eiffel, Tim Cahill, Alex Ray, Robbie Ryan, Lee Gregory, Stuart Nevcott, Alf Amos, Andy Roberts. So there you go. Top of the pops, and he's moving his way up the charts. Interesting. So moving on now to this, some stuff from Millwall website. A couple of things. Millwall Business Club returns, and this is a thing that I did before. I'm not too sure. I think it's pre-COVID, but definitely pre-COVID they were doing this. So Millwall Business Club hosted its first event since the COVID-19 pandemic in the Executive Lounge at the Den on Thursday morning, with over 30 local businesses in attendance. Topics such as the pandemic and subsequent recovery, Brexit and business landscapes moving forward were discussed with the event hosted by Mark Webber from the BBC. Further speakers included Neil Garner, Associate Director at Mason Scaffolding, Russell Didarzadeh, Head of Retail and Sport at Luke, and Rob Long, Managing Director at Service Graphics. The Millwall Business Club offers a fantastic opportunity to network with like-minded individuals in an excellent meeting space, the perfect place to expand the reach of your company. To find out more about Millwall Business Club, click here. So yeah, things are slowly getting back to normal, and there you go. Interesting little thing they got going on, a little meeting of business people. A businessman doing business, and a couple of women there as well. Spread out a bit. Oh, they even got on the bench. There's the geezer, you might recognise him from Lions TV. I think that's the guy, isn't it? There you go. So Millwall Business Club, back in it. If you want to get involved, network with some Millwall people, you want some services or work done, and you want to give it to a company, maybe you might find one here, a company that you can work with. There you go, Millwall Business Club back in business. Moving on now to this. So Christmas is coming. Over just under a month to go, and we've got this here: Junior Lions Christmas competition. Design our Christmas program cover. Yes, indeed. The Junior Lions 2021 Christmas cover edition. Now, here's the thing: you don't need to be Picasso to do this, because the last one, it was it was a kid's picture, a typical kid's picture where it's kind of abstract. You know, what am I looking at here? And you got to stare at it for a moment and thought, oh, that and that and that and that. But it was a Christmas scene. So Millwall Football Club is reaching out to its talented junior lions to help design this year's Christmas Matchday programme cover. The festive season is approaching and the winner will see the design adorn the front of the programme ahead of Lions Sky Bet Championship fixture against Preston North End at the Den on Saturday 18th of December. To enter, junior lions can send a picture or a scan of their design to SLL PLC. Download your template by clicking here. So I imagine you're gonna have to help them do this by you got to click on this and you get this frame, which I imagine you print off, let them scribble on it, and then you're gonna have to digitize it, maybe take a picture of it and upload it to your email account, attach it to an email and send it back in. But there you go. So you print this out, let them scribble on it, tell them to draw Christmas scene. I like that the lion's got a Christmas hat on. That's cute. And then you can send it in. So you've got a month to do that because the deadline for entries is Monday the 6th. But it does say you need to be a junior lion. So are you a junior lion? I think junior lion membership only costs like £2 or something ridiculously cheap like that. So get involved with that if you are a junior lion, or if you're not and you want to get involved with it, become a junior lion and get involved with it. And good luck to you. So moving on now. That's enough of the waffle. We get back to business. We have a game tomorrow against Derby County. So let's have a look at that. So what's happening here? So Derby County. Now we haven't played them that many times historically. What you're seeing here is from 11v11.com. It's the historical record of Millwall and Derby games. I've sorted it out into Millwall versus Derby. So we didn't play them in a league game until 1967 because they are a big time team. They are, I think. Did they win the European Cup? Or maybe I'm dreaming about that. I don't think they did, no. Or did Brian Clough, was that them? I'm not too sure. But you see, we played them in the FA Cup in 1928 and then 1937. But we didn't play them in the league till 1967. For 3 years in the 60s we played them because they were in Division 2. We were in Division 2. And then we didn't play them again until 1984. When we were both in Division 3. And it's been pretty kind of regular since then. You can see, so the last couple of games we have lost, indeed, which is a shock. It is a shock, and I'm sure Garrett's not happy about that because he's very familiar with Derby County, and so are a number of our players. Seeing that they used to play for them, Malone, Bennett, George Evans, etc. So here you can see, 5th of December 2020, almost a year ago, we lost 1-0. Before that, in June 2020, we lost 3-2. And we did win before that, 2018, we won 2-1. But there have been a number of defeats. 5-1 defeat, 2013. Anyone remember that? Going back to the 1990s, defeat. In the League One playoffs, 3-1. That was not a good defeat. I think there was a little riot after that one. But you can see, so it's pretty evenly balanced. We win, we lose, and we draw. We won 4-1 in 1994. But our wins seem to be small wins. Not many goals scored when we win. 1-0, 2-1, that kind of thing. But they beaten us 3-1, 5-1, 3-2. So even the draw, 3-3 draw in 2015, 6 years ago. Interesting, huh? Okay. So there's also been quite a few 0-0s as well. 1993, 2012, 2018. Well, that's not many, but it's like it's all over the shop. There's no rhyme or reason here, to be honest with you. So what does that mean for tomorrow's game? All these games were years ago. What does that matter? So let's move on to a prediction from a Sky Bet Championship expert, EFL expert and columnist, David Prutton. What does he say? And where are we today? Are we all the way down the bottom as well? Okay, let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. Where are we? Oh, there we are. So Prutton predicts Millwall 1, a Derby, a 0. Okay, that's interesting. 1-0 win for Millwall. So moving on now to whoscored.com. This is the head-to-head. So as we've just seen, so previous matches. These are the last 6 matches at Millwall. We've only won 1. We've drawn 2 and lost 3. And the goal differential is 8 scored for us, 13 scored for them. 8 cards for us, 16 for them. Interesting. Okay. And a little bit more context for that 5-1 game. We had a player sent off. So that would have done something about that. So match facts. There have been under 2.5 goals scored in 9 of Millwall's last 11 games. It's not a goal fest. Millwall. Not a goal fest. Derby have failed to win. Oh no. Derby have failed to win their last 6 away matches. You know what that means. They're due. They are due. And if there's anything we've learned being Millwall fans over the years, that when a team is due and we're up next to play them, that's when it's going to happen. So here's the table as it stands. Of course they're bottom, but that's because they got the points deduction. But look at there in the middle. There's a team in the league that's drawn more games than us, and they are Derby County. 8 games drawn, 6 games drawn by Millwall. 16 goals scored for us, 16 against. For them it's 12 and 15, so they're struggling to score. But they've conceded less goals than us for a team bottom of the league. Okay. So let's have a look at the form table. Not doing too well, but again, 4 draws. And interesting, Millwall haven't drawn a game in their last 6. Interesting. And they haven't won a game in their last 6. Are they due? Are they due a win and are we due a draw? Maybe. So here's the last 6 matches at home for Millwall and the last 6 matches away for Derby. Let's have a look at Derby first. You can see, so they don't ship a lot of goals. They don't score a lot of goals. They've conceded 2 to Birmingham 6 games ago. They conceded 2 to Barnsley in the latest game. And for the last 4 against Birmingham, West Brom, Sheffield United and Preston, they failed to score. In all 4 games they didn't get an away goal, but they kept 2 of the games to a 0-0 draw. That is interesting. So they do play for 0-0 draws, especially for teams that they think are better than them. Interesting. But the last 2 games they have actually managed to score a goal, 1 goal in each game. They got a 1-1 draw in the Coventry game, but they lost 2-1 against Barnsley. Okay. Now looking at Millwall, so we failed to score against Luton and Leicester, but Leicester's the cup game, that doesn't really count. But we scored in all the other games. We kept clean sheets against Bristol City and Reading. Interesting. Okay. So here's the characteristics. Not a massive list this time. Derby have got a lot of weaknesses there, as you can see. I'm not going to read them all out. If you want to read them, pause the video and read them. There's no crime against it. You can do that. So here's the match forecast. Millwall will dominate in the air, very likely. Millwall will score from a direct free kick, very likely. Millwall will control the game in the opposition's half, likely. I like the sound of that. That sounds very interesting. Where are we going now? So let's move on to this. Their predictions. So they've got the lineups there. I'm not going to go through that because they're very rarely correct. The home side have just one confirmed absentee for the visit of Derby, with George Evans ruled out until the end of the month with a broken hand. Garrett could move Bennett Kofobi into a more central role this weekend, with Shea Ojo returning to the starting 11 on the left. Well, where's Mason Bennett going to start? Because Mason Bennett was an absolute revelation when he came on, and he's playing against Derby, a team that cut him after he's off the field things, and you could say they're probably justified in doing that, but I'm sure he would want to demonstrate his prowess in footballing ability against his old club, so he should get a chance to do that by starting the game. Now, would that be on the left or down the middle? We will see. Maybe they just maybe they rotate him and the phobia, they move around. Why not? So we've seen the match facts. Oh, here we go. Prediction. Mill will dominate the proceedings on Tuesday night and will be rewarded for their patience when Bennett Kofobi's late goal sealed a 1-0 victory over a free-falling Reading side. The London club have won 5 of their last 7 league games and are steadily climbing the table. Sam Baldock's 24th minute strike saw Derby race into an early lead against relegation rivals Barnsley in midweek, but the Rams collapsed in the second half and eventually left Oakwell empty-handed. The visitors are now 4 points adrift at the bottom of the championship. So they took the lead against Barnsley, but then they conceded 2 goals. So the opposite of us, they collapsed in the second half, where we improved in the second half. Probably, I'm guessing, I haven't seen it, they tried to defend their 1-0 lead and it didn't work out for them, I'm guessing. Because you can't defend for a long period in this at this level of football and expect to get away with it. You're gonna need a bit of luck. And they predict Millwall 1, Derby 0. Interestingly, the same as David Prutton. Now, personally, as we've seen, Derby have got more draws than Millwall. Millwall, they've been winning, they haven't been convincing. They've been setting up incorrectly at the start of games, getting booed off at half time, changing at half time, and then winning the game in the second half. Now, if that doesn't happen, we could see a situation where we'd play all right in the first half, but we don't really do anything, and then a situation where there isn't the impetus or the demand to change it so much at the half time, so it won't get changed. And we'll leave it late and try and change it late at the end, like bringing Matt Smith on with 10 minutes to go, something stupid like that. So if we're not really awful in the first half, the changes won't get made, and I'm pretty sure we probably won't be that awful against Derby in the first half. I imagine they're going to sit back and try and frustrate us and try and play. I imagine they're going to try and play for that 0-0 draw. And you know what? I think they might get it. I think it's going to be... So, these Pratton and this website, whoscored.com, have predicted 1-0. I assume because they think Derby are going to try and play for a 0-0. And they're not going to be able to do it. I think it will be a 0-0. Yeah, I can see it being 0-0. That's my prediction. I think Millwall 0, Derby 0. I hope it's that and not the other way around, where it was 1-0 to Derby. That would be a kick in the teeth. But yeah, 0-0 for me. That's it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.